Hi, I'm Mac McCarty, and I help people with their breakups. And today I want to talk about the friends issue because this is coming up a lot in people's story, and this is why you need to write your story. If I haven't told you this before on my channel, write your story out at writemac.com and let me help you unpack it because a lot of you are blaming friends in some way or fashion. I'm not singling out any people that have sent me stories or letters because this is a common theme. I'm just telling you it's done a lot, and I've dealt with friends issues with girlfriends, and I really went to town on this one and wrote some stuff out. Usually, a lot of times I'm talking just off the top of my head. Things come to me that way, and I find it more of a free flow. But I wanted to make sure I'm touching on a lot of stuff because this comes up so goddamn often. I understand why. You know, you get into a breakup and you want to blame someone outside the relationship, and a lot of times the friends can be a part of that blame, but at the same time, you can't control who their friends are. They have to make that decision themselves. So I'm going to talk about this more specifically in different situations. So let's get into this. I wrote something out here. Dealing with your partner's friends. You can't change who their friends are, only they can. They need to make that decision. So a lot of times you're like, oh, you know, just since she's been hanging out with Paula or when she's been hanging out with, you know, Johanna, this stuff started out. Well, you can't just go to her and go, you can't hang out with them anymore. Some guys do it. Sometimes women take that order, but it doesn't really work. Later on, they're going to be pissed off. And if the friend finds out about it, now you got a new enemy. So you got to let them make that decision. But here's my take. Some people tell me, well, she's really impressionable or easily manipulative or manipulated. It's a tough word to say. And I speak English, right? Manipulated. So that was one common thing. Well, you know, the friend is really bad, but she's also one of those people that's impressionable and she gets manipulated easy and she listens to people too easily. But was she like that when you met her? Is she like that with you? I don't know if you're getting away from, if that's a personality trait, how you're going to change that about the individual. Chances are, especially if they're young, they're not going to change that way of being. You have to accept that when you met them. And I think in some ways, guys that are with women like that, and then a friend starts getting their ear, they're like, hey, you know, she's always been listening to me, right? And it pisses you off. And in some ways, friends are a threat to your influence and ability to manipulate the girl yourself, right? So it's not the friend's fault. They don't owe you nothing, and they will always be on the friend's side first. So you always, you know, the friend did this. The friend's putting their friend first, which is your girlfriend or some of you your boyfriend. They're going to put them first. You're always going to be second. So they don't owe you nothing. And the friend doesn't have a relationship with you. It's your relationship with your partner, your girlfriend, that she needs to be the one to make the decision. Wow, you know what? Hanging out with Anna this weekend, she's not the best influence on me. I just don't want to go that far as drinking. She needs to put that in perspective. You can't go, I don't ever want you going out with her again. You can't do that. Get in the car. No. Humans don't like to be controlled. It will just work for a short time. So the idea that you can tell your girlfriend or boyfriend to stop hanging out with someone who's controlling and eventually breeds contempt. I don't know if you know what contempt, but contempt builds. If you have problems with your friends, tell them specifically why don't. So this is a good one. This is really important. This is helpful. Take note. If you have problems with their friends, tell them specifically why. The reason why, the story why, the individual thing why. Don't make blanket statements like, she's just a bitch. Don't do that. That's just a blanket statement that doesn't really have any teeth to it, right? So I'll give you an example in my own life. I had an ex-girlfriend that one of her best friends, and it wasn't a best friend for a long period of time. It was a friend that came into her life. How should I say came into her life? Came into her life like 2 years into our relationship. So it wasn't like she was friends with her before. It was one of those things. They were yoga buddies and they just got close right away. And This girl was playing two different guys. And she's bragging about it to my girlfriend. So that's a red flag right there. She treated the guy like shit in front of us. We all went out for, like, you know, the guy was in town because it was a long distance relationship. And she's putting the guy down, saying he couldn't last long in bed, which is awkward and totally immature in front of a new group of friends. Maybe you want to talk shit in front of your girlfriends and stuff, but I didn't think that was funny with the guy right there, and it's his first time hanging out with your friends. She'd also constantly complain about the guy being weak and needy, but at the same time, she liked pushing him around. This is where I tell people, being too nice as a guy, the woman will just push you around and use you. But she was bitching that he was like that, but at the same time, she liked showing off how she could push him around. And she was a little itty-bitty thing. The girl was really small, so she had a little bit of a complex, I think. She also liked to brag how often the guy would say that he wanted to marry her, and then she'd talk shit about him asking her to marry. It's like, if he's that deep into you and you're talking shit behind his back, you have no care or love for him, let the guy go, you know? A total lack of self-awareness. I think she thought she was being cool, and like I said, so to me, I couldn't stand this girl. But I had to let my girlfriend assess that herself too. I couldn't just say you can't hang out with her or blame this friend or the problems. When I was around her, the girlfriend, the friend, right? She knew I didn't really care for her just by my body language, and sometimes I would just make a comment or two when she was, you know, a little out of order with her boyfriend, just a little sarcastic or rude thing to her. My ex had to see that though, not from me, but from her. And another example from the same friend was that she would bring up problems my girlfriend told her about in our relationship, like the fact that I didn't like them going out that much. She said, "Oh, I know you don't like us going out together. Don't worry." I'm like, that's a conversation for me and my girlfriend to have. It's not a triangle thing, right? So I had to address that. But at the same time, I couldn't just say, like, "Oh, you can't hang out with her." I specifically said why I didn't like her. I told her, this girl's playing two different guys. She treats this guy like shit in public. I go, I don't like her. That's a reason, rather than just saying, "Oh, she's a bitch." That's just grouping in a word with no meaning. I'm telling you why I don't like the individual, and then, you know, your girlfriend goes, "Yeah, that's true, huh? That's why I don't like her." So then it comes up to your girlfriend to make that decision. So here's the thing about people: they generally want to conform to who they are or what they like. For example, if your girlfriend's friend likes to cheat, like this girl was cheating on this guy, they will encourage you to do the same. If they like to drink a lot, they will encourage or push you to do the same, right? I have a friend that's married with 2 kids, isn't even happily married, but always wants to know, when you getting married, when you having kids, because they want me to do the same thing. Am I anti-marriage or anti-kids? No, I'm just not there yet. I haven't met the one to do that with. But at the same time, it's kind of annoying. It's intrusive, and it's just what people do. So the friends they hang out with have influence, but then there's the friends like, there's individuals that are more impressionable to peer pressure. But people want you to conform to who they are. So friends do matter. But my point being, I'm gonna kick this home many times. They have to be the one to realize, hey, this friend's bad news, or this friend's pushing me in the wrong direction. You can't just be there all the time and say, no, you can't hang out with them. What you can do is say why you don't like them hanging out with them. You don't give an order. Now, okay, now I have another story. I wrote this out so I wouldn't forget. I swear, I haven't been with that many girlfriends, but I have a few, and the stories are pertinent. I mean, the stories count. I think they help you guys out. So I had another ex-girlfriend, and she had a friend that they were friends in high school, and they reconnected later on. This is like mid-20s. And this girl, I knew her. I was friends with her. She was from the same town as us, and she was fun, but she was promiscuous. She was single. She's good-looking, and she's what I'd call a tease, if you know what I mean. And she'd brag about getting guys. She liked to play around with guys, toy with them. I call it cat pawing. You know, she'd play other guys off each other. You knew it was coming because, like I said, she was a good-looking girl. She got a lot of attention. So my ex started hanging out with this girl, and once they reunited and started hanging, I saw a big difference in my ex, because my ex was a good-looking girl too, and what they were doing is kind of competing with each other when they went out for attention. And women will compete. I think it's a common womanly trait. If there's a group of 5 or 6 women together, they want to know who's the cute one in the bunch or who's getting the attention. It's just a common thing. And as she started changing, hanging out with this girl more and more, I just saw it right away. She's competing for attention. And I couldn't ban her from seeing this girl, but I could tell her how I felt. I didn't blame the friend, because the friend was always this way. This is the friend didn't owe me nothing. She had been like this before, they reconnected. What eventually happened from this, and I'm not blaming the friend, what eventually happened was I broke up and gave my girlfriend at the time an ultimatum to stop going out so much. She was going out partying with this girl, and it wasn't the girl or the friend. It was a bigger group than that. And I gave her an ultimatum. I said, you got to stop going out this much. This is just getting ridiculous. I can't handle it anymore. You're going out every Friday, Saturday night till 3 in the morning, not calling me up, not connecting back. And basically she called me on it, and she called it and we were together quite a long time, and basically flipped it on me that I was controlling. Now, looking back, 0 regrets on that. It was a tough breakup too, because I didn't want to break up. I wanted her to listen to what I was saying and take it into account. She didn't. Looking back, my ex was crossing a line. I don't know if she was cheating, but she was well on track if she was cheating. I mean, there was evidence there that she was flirting quite a bit and crossing a line. And at that point, do I want to be the guy that's just waiting at home or checking on her or worried? No. I had to step up and say something. I don't know if I'd give an ultimatum again, but I don't think the problem was going away. And she wasn't willing to not go out with this group of friends anymore, so I had to call it a relationship. It was tough. But right now I look back and I'm like, fuck, I'm so happy I did that at the time. I'm so happy I got out of that, because I would have been the guy getting cat pawed around. Now, this is another little part of the thing that I remember that people are dealing with. About 5 days after we broke up, this is 8 or 9 years ago, her friend who was on my Facebook started posting on Facebook how they would have girls' night out and she'd meet a new guy. So she was already trying to set up my ex within the first 5 days, an ex I'd been with for 4.5, 5 years. It wasn't just like someone I was seeing for a few months. She posts this. I was pissed and hurt. I instantly defriended them all, and it saved me a lot of misery. I took control rather than let it continue. I knew that I'd keep checking on that. I instantly did it. I don't know why people go, well, I just kind of want to stay in touch, or I want to do that. The friends count too, because they're going to talk about where they're going and where they're headed. You don't want to stay in connection as something that's going to trigger you feeling pissed off or hurt, because I have no control of her going out with her friends. We've already broken up. I've already taken my stand in the sand, man. You know what I mean? So I can't go back and go, oh, I know you're going out with those girls. That's weak, needy behavior. You're out of the picture. You need to start moving on. You can't show that. So, got on a tangent like I do. In closing, do not blame friends. Your ex or partner needs to be using good judgment on their own. Do not blame friends. Your ex or partner needs to be using good judgment on their own. If a friend becomes a problem, specifically say why you don't like them, and do not demand they stop being friends with them. Friends are individual situations, and a lot of times your partner comes into a relationship with a set of friends already. It's been said that you are the sum of the 5 people you hang around most. So take inventory of that in the beginning, and immediately if you're dating someone and they got like a really bad best friend, you might not be able to change that. When my relationships have been at their best, I've generally liked my girlfriend's friends. She's liked mine, just in my own experience. And their friends like me too. I mean, I've always got on really well with my girlfriend's friends. And generally, I feel like they think, oh, he's a good guy, he's a good boyfriend. And I've even had, some of them contact me afterwards, after the relationship, and say, oh, I wish she was still with you. You were such a good boyfriend. And that's cool. That's like a cool thing. I didn't sit there and go like, oh, what is she up to? I just went, you know what, thanks. I appreciate that. So they have that respect for me. So that's kind of a big plus going into a relationship when you can get along with her friends, because she's not going to just drop friends. It's a very difficult thing for a woman to do, and a guy. I mean, I don't think I've ever been asked, like, don't hang out with this guy. I think I've had new friends that I realized within the first 2 or 3 months weren't a good influence and weren't good people to hang out with. And my girlfriends have identified that immediately, and I agreed. And I agreed over time. I didn't just go, oh yeah, I won't hang out with them, but they were right because they knew what was best for me. All right, I hope that helps. So, friends, right? Don't blame them. It's your ex's responsibility or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your partner's responsibility to deal with it responsibly. All right? Later.